In the year 2347, Earth was no longer the green and blue planet it used to be. Overpopulation and years of pollution had turned it into a crowded gray world. The skies were often cloudy, and most of the land was covered with huge cities made of metal and concrete. But even though Earth had changed, it was still the center of human life. It was here, at the Orion Deep Space Observatory in what was once the Australian outback, that something strange happened. Dr. Alan Carter, a man in his late 50s with short gray hair and glasses, was sitting in the observatory's control room. He was looking at data from one of the long-range telescopes when he noticed something unusual. His assistant, Lisa Monroe, a young woman with curly brown hair and bright eyes, leaned over his shoulder to see what he was looking at. "What is that?" she asked, her voice filled with curiosity. Alan adjusted his glasses and zoomed in on the signal. It wasn't like anything they had seen before. The signal was faint but rhythmic, almost like it was sent on purpose. "It's not random noise," Alan said, typing quickly on the keyboard. "This is a message." The two scientists worked through the night, trying to figure out where the signal was coming from. They soon realized it was coming from deep space, far beyond any area humanity had explored. What surprised them even more was the content of the message. After running it through several programs, they managed to translate part of it. "You've been alerted." Lisa frowned as she stared at the screen. "Alerted? About what?" Alan shook his head. "I don't know. But someone, or something, wanted us to hear this." News of the discovery spread quickly. Within hours, people all over the world were talking about the mysterious signal. Some thought it was a warning about an alien invasion, while others believed it was a message from another civilization. Governments held emergency meetings, and military forces prepared for the worst. No one knew if the message was good or bad, but everyone agreed it couldn't be ignored. At the United Nations headquarters in New York City, Dr. Carter and Lisa presented their findings to world leaders. Using a holographic display, they showed the decoded text and explained how the signal seemed to be aimed directly at Earth. "It's like they knew we'd be listening," Lisa said, her hands shaking slightly. The room was tense. Some leaders wanted to act immediately, while others thought they should wait and gather more information. In the middle of the debate, Alan spoke up. "We can't ignore this," he said firmly. "If there's a threat out there, we need to understand it. And if it's a message meant for us, we have to find out why." His words convinced Ryan Hayes, a well-known astronaut and captain of the starship Aegis *. Ryan had spent years exploring space, and he believed humanity's future depended on facing challenges head-on. When Alan suggested sending a team to investigate the source of the signal, Ryan volunteered right away. The mission was approved, and preparations began quickly. The crew of the Aegis * included Lieutenant Emma Ross, who was skilled in navigation and studying alien life, Dr. Paul Grayson, a linguist who could decode alien languages, and Marcus Lane, the ship's engineer who could fix almost anything. Together, they would travel into uncharted space, following the trail left by the mysterious signal. As the launch date approached, people around the world watched nervously. For some, the mission was a chance to learn more about the universe and humanity's place in it. For others, it was a dangerous risk that could put everyone in danger. But no matter what people thought, one thing was clear: whatever lay ahead, it would change everything. With millions of eyes watching the stars, the Aegis * launched into space, leaving Earth behind as it began its journey into the unknown. The starship Aegis * soared through the vast emptiness of space, its sleek design gliding effortlessly among the stars. Inside, the crew prepared for what lay ahead. Captain Ryan Hayes stood on the bridge, his sharp blue eyes scanning the screens in front of him. He was a man who believed in action over fear, and though the mission was dangerous, he felt confident in his team. Beside him, Lieutenant Emma Ross monitored the navigation systems, plotting the ship's course toward the source of the mysterious signal. Dr. Paul Grayson sat in the communications room, studying the decoded message again. The words "you've been alerted" still puzzled him. What did it mean? Who had sent it? And why to Earth? These questions weighed heavily on his mind. Meanwhile, Marcus Lane worked tirelessly in the engine room, ensuring the ship's systems were running smoothly. Marcus wasn't one for big speeches or deep thoughts, but even he couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental awaited them. As days turned into weeks, the journey became monotonous. The crew spent their time checking equipment, reviewing data, and trying to stay focused. But strange things began happening aboard the ship. Small glitches appeared in the computer systems, lights flickered without explanation, and some crew members reported hearing faint whispers when no one else was around. At first, they dismissed these incidents as stress or fatigue, but soon they couldn't ignore them. One night, Emma woke up from a vivid dream. She had seen herself standing on an alien planet, surrounded by towering structures covered in strange symbols. In the dream, she heard a voice, a low, echoing sound, that whispered, "Turn back." Shaken, she went to the bridge to check the ship's logs, but found nothing unusual. Still, the dream lingered in her mind, making her uneasy. The next day, during a routine meeting, Emma shared her experience with the others. Ryan listened carefully, his expression unreadable. Marcus shrugged it off, saying, "Long flights mess with your head. Happens to everyone." But Paul looked thoughtful. "What if it's not just a dream?" he asked. "What if the signal is affecting us somehow?" Before anyone could answer, alarms blared throughout the ship. A sudden jolt shook the Aegis asterisk, throwing everyone off balance. Ryan rushed to the controls, his hands moving quickly over the panels. "We've entered an unknown energy field," Emma reported, her voice steady despite the chaos. "It's interfering with our systems." Marcus scrambled to stabilize the engines while Paul worked to shield the communication array. Slowly, the ship regained control, but the incident left everyone on edge. Ryan called another meeting to discuss what had happened. "This changes things," he said, his tone serious. "If the signal is causing these disturbances, we need to be ready for anything." Despite the growing tension, the crew pressed on. Days later, they finally reached their destination, a desolate planet orbiting a dying red star. Its surface was barren, covered in dust and rocks. Scans revealed ruins buried beneath layers of debris. Ryan gave the order to land, and the Aegis asterisk descended cautiously onto the alien world. As the crew stepped onto the planet's surface, they were struck by the eerie silence. The air was thin, and the ground crunched under their boots. Dr. Paul Grayson examined the ruins, marveling at the intricate carvings etched into the stone walls. They depicted scenes of destruction, cities burning, people fleeing, and monstrous shapes looming in the background. It was clear that this civilization had met a tragic end. Emma noticed something odd about the carvings. Some of the symbols seemed familiar, almost like they matched parts of the signal they had received. "Paul, look at this," she said, pointing to a section of the wall. Paul studied it closely, his brow furrowed. "It's a warning," he murmured. "They're telling us to beware of something called the Devourer." Ryan joined them, listening intently. "The Devourer," he repeated. "What is that?" Paul shook his head. "I don't know yet, but whatever it is, it destroyed this entire civilization." The discovery sent chills down their spines. As they explored further, Marcus stumbled upon something unsettling, a faint pulse emanating from deep within the ruins. It was rhythmic, almost alive. "Guys," he called out, his voice tense. "We're not alone here." The crew exchanged worried glances. Whatever they had found, it was far more dangerous than they had imagined. The crew of the Aegis asterisk gathered around Marcus, who was kneeling near a strange pulsing light coming from the ground. The light was faint but steady, almost like a heartbeat. Emma reached out to touch it but hesitated, her hand hovering in the air. "What is that?" she whispered. Marcus frowned, his tools already in hand. "I don't know yet. Let me check." He scanned the area with a handheld device, his brow furrowed as the readings came back unusual. It's some kind of energy source, but not like anything I've seen before. Ryan stepped forward, his voice firm. Be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with here. He turned to Paul. Can you make sense of those carvings? Maybe they'll tell us more about this thing. Paul nodded and returned to the wall, studying the symbols carefully. Hours passed as he pieced together fragments of the ancient language. Finally, he looked up, his face pale. This civilization called it the Devourer. It's described as a force that consumes everything: planets, stars, entire species. They tried to fight it, but it was too powerful. In the end, they were wiped out. Emma shivered. So this pulse, it could be part of the Devourer. It's possible, Paul replied. But if that's true, we need to leave. Now. Before anyone could move, the ground beneath them trembled. A low rumble echoed through the ruins, growing louder with each passing second. Dust fell from the cracked ceilings, and the pulsing light grew brighter. Something's waking up, Marcus said, backing away. Ryan grabbed his communicator. Everyone, back to the ship. Move. The crew sprinted toward the exit, their footsteps kicking up clouds of dust. But just as they reached the surface, the trembling stopped. For a moment, everything was silent. Then, a massive shape emerged from the ruins, a swirling mass of dark energy and shifting matter. It hovered above the ground, crackling with power. The entity radiated an overwhelming presence, filling the air with a sense of dread. Ryan raised his weapon instinctively, though he knew it would do little against such a force. To their shock, the entity spoke, not with words, but directly into their minds. Its voice was cold and emotionless. You have awakened me. Why do you disturb my rest? Emma stepped forward cautiously, her heart pounding. We didn't mean to wake you. We're trying to understand the message you sent to Earth. The message? The entity asked, its tone indifferent. A warning. To all who hear it, abandon your quest for knowledge or face annihilation. Ryan clenched his fists. We're not giving up. Humanity won't stop exploring, no matter what you say. The entity seemed to pause, as if considering his words. Then it replied, Your arrogance will be your downfall. You cannot outrun destruction. Before the crew could react, the entity lashed out, sending a wave of energy toward them. Ryan shouted, Take cover. They dove behind rocks as the blast struck the ground, leaving a smoking crater where they had stood moments earlier. Marcus scrambled to his feet. We can't fight this thing. We need to get out of here. Paul nodded. He's right. If we stay, we're dead. Ryan hesitated, torn between his duty to protect his crew and his desire to learn more about the Devourer. Finally, he made his decision. Back to the ship. Now. As they ran, Paul stayed behind momentarily to collect samples of the energy field. Paul, come on, Emma yelled, grabbing his arm and pulling him along. Reluctantly, he followed, clutching the small vial tightly. The journey back to the Aegis felt endless. Each step was heavy with fear, knowing the entity could strike again at any moment. When they finally reached the ship, Marcus hurried to start the engines while Ryan manned the controls. As the Aegis lifted off, the entity watched silently from below, its form shimmering ominously. Once they were safely in orbit, the crew sat in stunned silence. That was close, Emma said, breaking the quiet. Too close. Ryan stared out the window at the barren planet below. We got lucky this time, but we can't run forever. If the Devourer is real, and it's coming for us, we need to prepare. Paul held up the vial. Maybe this will give us answers. If we can study it, we might find a way to fight back. For now, the crew was safe, but the encounter left them shaken, knowing they had barely escaped with their lives. Whatever the Devourer was, it wasn't done with them. or humanity. Back on Earth, news of the crew's encounter spread like wildfire. The images and data sent by the Aegis were analyzed by scientists around the world. Dr. Alan Carter and Lisa Monroe worked tirelessly in the Orion Deep Space Observatory, piecing together the information. The entity known as the Devourer was unlike anything humanity had ever faced. Its power seemed limitless, and its warning was clear: stop exploring or face extinction. World leaders gathered for an emergency meeting at the United Nations headquarters. The atmosphere was tense, with arguments breaking out over what to do next. Some believed Earth should prepare for war, building weapons to defend against the Devourer. Others argued that humanity should retreat, abandoning space exploration altogether. Amid the chaos, Ryan Hayes stood up to speak. "We can't run and hide," Ryan said firmly, his voice cutting through the noise. "If we stop exploring, we lose what makes us human: our curiosity, our drive to learn. But we also can't fight the Devourer alone. We need to warn others." Ellen nodded in agreement. "Ryan's right. If the Devourer is as dangerous as it seems, other civilizations could be at risk too. We have a chance to help them, and maybe even find allies." Lisa stepped forward, holding a holographic display. "We've been working on a plan," she explained. "Using Earth's global communication array, we can send a universal warning across the galaxy. It won't just be a message. It'll be a beacon, telling everyone to beware of the Devourer." Emma Ross, who had returned with the crew, added her thoughts. "The ruins showed us how devastating the Devourer can be. If other species know about it ahead of time, they might stand a better chance." Marcus Lane, however, wasn't convinced. Broadcasting a signal like that could attract attention, bad attention. What if the Devourer comes straight for us? Paul Grayson chimed in, his tone calm but firm. "We're already on its radar. Staying quiet won't save us. At least this way, we're doing something." After hours of debate, the decision was made. Humanity would send out a universal warning to the stars. Engineers and scientists worked day and night to modify Earth's communication array, boosting its power to levels never attempted before. The message was simple but powerful. To all sentient beings: beware of the Devourer. You've been alerted. As the preparations continued, the crew of the Aegis struggled with their own emotions. Emma spent hours staring at the samples collected from the alien planet, hoping to find clues about the Devourer's weaknesses. Paul pored over the carvings and symbols, searching for anything they might have missed. Marcus focused on upgrading the ship's systems, determined to make sure the Aegis was ready for whatever came next. Ryan, meanwhile, wrestled with doubt. He had always believed in humanity's ability to overcome challenges, but the Devourer felt different. It wasn't just another obstacle, it was a force beyond comprehension. Still, he reminded himself of the crew's bravery and the sacrifices they had already made. They couldn't give up now. Finally, the day of the broadcast arrived. Millions of people tuned in to watch as the signal was sent into the cosmos. For a brief moment, there was hope, a sense that humanity had taken a stand, no matter how small. But the peace didn't last long. Strange anomalies began appearing in nearby star systems. Ships vanished without explanation, and distant planets went dark. It became clear that the Devourer had noticed humanity's actions. Fear gripped the population once again, but Ryan and his crew refused to back down. "We knew this wouldn't be easy," Ryan told the others during a private meeting. "But we've started something, and we can't stop now. If we're going down fighting." The crew nodded in agreement. Though the road ahead was uncertain, they were ready to face it together. Whatever happened next, humanity's warning had been sent, and somewhere out there, perhaps another civilization was listening. Weeks passed after the broadcast, and Earth waited anxiously for any sign of a response. At first, there was nothing, just silence stretching across the stars. But then, strange things began to happen. Ships traveling near the edges of known space started disappearing without a trace. Entire colonies on distant planets went dark, their communication systems cutting out abruptly. The signs were clear. Something, or someone, was reacting to humanity's message. Dr. Alan Carter and Lisa Monroe worked around the clock at the Orion Deep Space Observatory, analyzing every piece of data they could gather. "It's not random," Alan said one night, pointing to a map of the affected areas. "Whatever is doing this, it's moving in a pattern. It's heading toward us." Lisa nodded, her face pale. "The Devourer. It's coming." The news sent shockwaves through Earth's governments. Military forces prepared for battle, while scientists scrambled to develop new technologies to defend the planet. Captain Ryan Hayes and his crew were called back into action. The Aegis was upgraded with experimental weapons and reinforced shields, but even Marcus Lane admitted they were no match for the Devourer. "We're going to need more than just firepower," Emma Ross said during a meeting aboard the ship. "We need a plan, a real one." Paul Grayson had been studying the samples brought back from the alien planet. Though he hadn't found a way to defeat the Devourer, he discovered something unsettling. The entity seemed to feed on energy. "If we can disrupt its power source, maybe we can slow it down," he suggested. Ryan nodded thoughtfully. "That's our best shot. Let's focus on finding its weak points." As they prepared for the inevitable confrontation, strange phenomena began occurring closer to Earth. People reported seeing flickering lights in the sky, and some claimed to hear faint whispers in their minds. Fear spread quickly, and cities descended into chaos. Despite the panic, Ryan remained calm, determined to protect the planet he called home. One day, sensors detected a massive fleet of ships approaching Earth's solar system. The vessels were unlike anything humanity had ever seen, massive, dark, and bristling with weapons. Leading the fleet was a swirling mass of energy that pulsed with an ominous glow. It was the Devourer. "This is it," Ryan said, addressing his crew. "We knew this moment would come. Stick to the plan, and don't lose hope. If we can buy enough time, Earth might stand a chance." The Aegis launched into space, joining Earth's defense fleet. The battle began almost immediately. Lasers and missiles streaked across the void as humanity fought desperately to hold the line. The Devourer's ships moved with terrifying precision, overwhelming the defenders. Despite their bravery, Earth's forces were losing ground. In the heat of the battle, Paul made a critical discovery. Using the data from the alien samples, he identified a frequency that seemed to destabilize the Devourer's energy field. "We need to amplify this signal," he shouted over the commotion. "It might weaken it." Marcus sprang into action, modifying the ship's communication array to broadcast the frequency. "I'll need a few minutes," he yelled, his hands flying over the controls. Emma navigated the Aegis closer to the Devourer, dodging enemy fire. "Hold on," she called out, her voice tense. "I'm taking us in." As they approached, Ryan led a daring attack, drawing the Devourer's attention away from Earth. The crew worked together flawlessly, each playing their part in the desperate gamble. Finally, Marcus gave the signal. "It's ready. Broadcasting now." The frequency rippled through space, striking the Devourer's core. For a moment, the entity faltered, its form flickering and unstable. Cheers erupted aboard the Aegis, but Ryan knew it wasn't over yet. "We've bought some time," he said grimly, "but it's still coming. And next time, we might not be so lucky." Though battered and bruised, humanity had proven it wouldn't go down without a fight. The battle may have ended in a stalemate, but the war was far from over. The battle against the Devourer had left Earth's defense fleet in ruins. Many ships were destroyed, and countless lives were lost. The Aegis itself was heavily damaged, its hull scorched and systems barely functioning. But despite the heavy losses, humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had survived. For now. Back on Earth, people mourned the fallen while preparing for what came next. Dr. Alan Carter and Lisa Monroe worked tirelessly to analyze the data collected during the battle. They studied the frequency that had weakened the Devourer, hoping to refine it into a weapon. If we can amplify this signal enough, Alan explained, we might be able to collapse its energy field completely. But time was running out. Sensors showed that the Devourer was regrouping, its massive fleet rebuilding after the skirmish. It wasn't retreating. It was planning its next move. Ryan Hayes knew they couldn't face it head-on again. Humanity needed a new strategy, something bold and unexpected. During a meeting aboard the Aegis Asterisk, Marcus Lane proposed an idea. What if we create a failsafe? He suggested. Something that can destroy the Devourer, and us, if it comes to that. He described a theoretical device called a quantum singularity generator. It would create a black hole powerful enough to consume anything nearby, including the Devourer. The catch: activating it would mean sacrificing everyone within range. Emma Ross looked at him, her expression grim. You're talking about turning Earth into a weapon. It's not just Earth, Marcus replied. It's all of us. If we don't do this, the Devourer will keep coming until there's nothing left. Ryan listened carefully, weighing the risks. Finally, he nodded. We'll build it, but only as a last resort. Until then, we fight. Work began immediately on the quantum singularity generator. Engineers and scientists from around the world collaborated, racing against time to complete the project. Meanwhile, Paul Grayson continued studying the alien carvings, searching for any clues that might give them an edge. One night, he uncovered a shocking revelation. The Devourer wasn't just a force of destruction, it was intelligent. Its actions were calculated, designed to instill fear before delivering the final blow. They want us to know they're coming, Paul said during a briefing. This isn't just an attack, it's a message. They're proving they're unstoppable. The realization sent chills through the crew. But Ryan refused to let despair take hold. Then we'll send our own message, he said firmly. We won't go quietly. Days turned into weeks as Earth prepared for the inevitable invasion. The quantum singularity generator was installed on the Aegis Asterisk, ready to be activated at a moment's notice. The ship's crew trained relentlessly, knowing their next mission could very well be their last. Finally, the day arrived. Sensors detected the Devourer's fleet moving toward Earth, larger and more menacing than ever before. Ryan addressed his crew one last time. This is it, he said, his voice steady. We've done everything we can. If we fail today, at least we'll have given the galaxy a fighting chance. Remember that. As the Aegis Asterisk launched into space, millions of people watched from Earth, their hearts filled with both fear and hope. The battle began almost instantly. Lasers and missiles lit up the darkness as humanity fought with everything they had. The Devourer's forces overwhelmed them, pushing closer to Earth with each passing second. Ryan gave the order to activate the quantum singularity generator. Marcus, do it, he said, his tone calm but resolute. Marcus hesitated for a fraction of a second before pressing the button. A swirling vortex of energy erupted from the Aegis Asterisk, growing larger by the second. The Devourer's fleet was pulled toward it, unable to escape its gravitational pull. As the black hole engulfed the enemy, Ryan transmitted one final message to the galaxy. We may fall today, but our warning stands. Remember us, and fight back. Moments later, the Aegis Asterisk and Earth were consumed by the singularity, erasing all traces of humanity. But their sacrifice was not in vain. Across the stars, other civilizations heard their message and vowed to stand together against the Devourer. Though gone, humanity's legacy lived on. As a beacon of courage and defiance, centuries passed after Earth's destruction. The galaxy had changed, but the memory of humanity lingered like a faint echo. Survivors of other civilizations pieced together fragments of the message sent by Earth before its end. They learned about the Devourer, the unstoppable force that consumed worlds, and about the bravery of a species that had sacrificed itself to warn others. On a distant planet orbiting a blue star, a council of alien leaders gathered in a grand chamber. Among them was Kale, a tall, silver-skinned diplomat from the Valon race. His people had once dismissed Earth's warning as paranoia, but now they were paying the price. Entire systems had fallen to the Devourer, leaving behind only silence. Kale stood up, his voice firm. "We can't keep running. Humanity gave us a chance. We owe it to them to fight." Another leader, Zira, a small, insect-like being with glowing green eyes, nodded in agreement. "They showed us unity is possible. If we stand together, maybe we can stop it." The council decided to form an alliance, a coalition of species united against the Devourer. Using Earth's research and their own advancements, they developed new technologies designed to combat the entity. Weapons capable of disrupting its energy field, shields strong enough to withstand its attacks, and communication systems to coordinate across vast distances. As the years went by, the alliance grew stronger. Scouts reported sightings of the Devourer's fleet moving through uncharted space, devouring planets and civilizations along the way. But this time, the galaxy wasn't defenseless. Fleets from dozens of species converged on the edge of known space, ready to face the threat head-on. The final battle took place near a massive nebula, its swirling colors lighting up the battlefield. Ships of all shapes and sizes clashed with the Devourer's forces, lasers and projectiles filling the void. At the center of the conflict was Kale, leading the charge aboard his flagship. Inspired by humanity's courage, he refused to retreat, even when the odds seemed impossible. Slowly, the tide began to turn. The combined efforts of the Alliance pushed the Devourer back, forcing it into a corner. With one final coordinated attack, they unleashed a weapon based on Earth's quantum singularity generator. A massive black hole formed, pulling the Devourer into its depths. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy was free. After the battle, the survivors held a ceremony to honor those who had fallen. Kale spoke, his words carrying respect and gratitude. "Humanity may be gone, but their sacrifice saved us all. They taught us that unity is strength, and hope can overcome even the darkest threats." In the centuries that followed, stories of Earth became legends. Statues were built in memory of Captain Ryan Hayes and his crew, and schools taught children about the bravery of a species that had given everything for the greater good. Though humanity no longer existed, their legacy endured, as a symbol of courage, selflessness, and the power of working together. Far away, in the quiet emptiness of space, a faint signal still pulsed. It carried the same message Earth had broadcast so long ago. To all sentient beings, beware of the Devourer. You've been alerted. And though the galaxy was safe for now, the stars listened, remembering the ones who had sounded the alarm.